You're listening to Sit, Talk, and Listen podcast with your hosts, Payroll Rob and Xavi Bauer.
Hey, oh, woo, woo. Hello. It is us. It's Payroll Rob. I'm here with Xavi Bauer. You're listening to Sit, Talk, and Listen, episode 31. Today is February 25th, 2025. 2/25/25. Some interesting notes about today. We have George Harrison from the Beatles. His birthday is today. He's dead.
And we're only a few episodes away from talking about George Harrison.
A few episodes away from talking about...
a few episodes
Oh,
removed.
yeah, the old George Harrison, Eric Clapton fighting over their bitches. And then you also have Ric Flair's birthday, so everybody get your woos out today for the old man, Ric Flair.
Woo!
There you go. One more for good luck.
Woo!
There it is.
Sorry for your ears.
That's all right. People will deal with it. And then we have some national days. February 25th is National Chocolate-Covered Nuts Day. So eat your nuts.
I knew it.
As
I
well
ate a
as-
bag on the way out here.
I love me a good nut bag.
Oh, yeah.
And then today is also National Clam Chowder Day.
Oh.
Shouts out to my northeastern, our listeners up there. We know we got a lot of them in Maine. We're popular. There was a law almost passed in Maine in 1939 which disallowed tomatoes from being used in clam chowder. That's how seriously they take their chowder up there.
Huh. Does that still go on till today?
Well, the law didn't end up passing, but a bill was brought forward and voted on and whatnot, which is wild.
I mean,
let's make legislation about how we make our chowder. Like, what are we talking about? We're going to regulate everything. And then we have National Billy Day today. So, yeah. Shouts out to all of our Billies.
You know, I just talked to one of them on the way out here, and it was not the one that I live with.
Yeah, so a lot
and
of
I
Billies.
talked to another one really right before we recorded.
Yeah.
A lot of Billies in my life.
So today's National Billy Day.
It's a big day.
We celebrate the lives, personalities, and achievements of people named Billy. So give some love.
First off, now knowing that, number one Billy in my life, I got a shout out to Billy Winterbauer the first.
Yeah.
My dad. You know,
Was
obviously
he a Billy or was he always a Bill?
He was a Billy growing up. I think
When did he
said that his
switch?
8th grade teacher told him that
Cut that shit out.
he was like basically like, hey, you're about to be an adult.
You need to be a Bill
he
now.
He can correct me, and I'm sure he will, you know, but I'm pretty sure he said it was his 8th grade teacher that told him he's no longer a Billy. He's
It's
a
funny.
Bill. You're a Bill now, boy.
Hey, somebody's got to tell you, I
Second
guess.
Billy in my life, though,
Bilbo
Baggins,
Mm-hmm.
my brother, you know,
Shouts out.
a lot of love there. And then third Billy in my life, Billy Andrews,
all the Billies.
friend and coworker. So, you know, just wanted to shout out all the. Am I missing a Billy?
Could be. There's more
Any
Billies.
popular Billies, like any pop culture relevant Billies that you can think
Eilish.
of? Oh, Billie Eilish.
Yeah, you have Billie Eilish.
Billy
and then
Wagner.
there's, Billy Joel.
Billy Joel.
Billy Joel Armstrong.
Dude, it seems like a lot of Billies do cross the Billy after
Yeah,
8th grade
if
threshold.
you've not changed to a Bill by high school, just stay with Billy forever, you know. And I think and you see a lot of these people stay with Billies.
Yeah.
There's a famous jazz player, Billie Holiday. So there's some famous
Colgate
Billies.
Hour.
Yeah, Colgate Hour. You know the one.
I remember him. He was in the high notes.
Dude, he can hit that high C all night long, baby.
So there's Billy Wagner, Billy the Kid.
Billy the Kid was one of the big catalysts for Billies, apparently. He was one of the first famous Billies. So everybody say thanks to a Billy today. Give him some love. As far as other national days, last take note, this national day in Poland is known as Masturbation Day, February 25th,
right.
25. So shouts out to Poland for taking care of their needs.
So if you are a Billy that loves chocolate-covered nuts, clam chowder, and porn, there's got to be some crossover there.
Yeah, it's all tied in. It's all tied in. They said February 25th, this is the day for clam chowder and masturbation. If you're a Billy.
They go hand in hand. No pun intended.
Billy. So those national days, I figured would lead us right into some. You had National Margarita Day over the weekend, and Xavi working at the Tex-Mex restaurant.
I will say this though, because when I came in that day, I was not preempted to the fact that it was National Margarita Day, so I went in there.
Just thrust on you.
And they're like, "Hey, it's National Margarita Day." My first thought is like, I feel like we have 5 of these a year. They're just like,
they said, "What day is slow? Let's tell people it's
there's
National
5
Margarita
National
Day."
Margarita Days. But by God, does that seem to have, whether it was a placebo or people were really out celebrating it? I mean, we were rocking and rolling.
So yeah, rocking and rolling on a National Margarita Day.
Yeah, I got there at 10.
Busier, less busy, or same amount of busy as Cinco de Mayo?
Less busy.
Yeah.
Cinco is it's a different monster, but more
Rich
money.
white people love Cinco de Mayo.
More money to be made on National Margarita Day, only because Cinco de Mayo is like the restaurant knows, and it's just so overstaffed. So like
it doesn't
you would
spread
think
out
that
as much.
The most money making day we would have, it would be Cinco de Mayo, but that's true for the restaurant, but not for the server.
Yeah, and that makes sense because
National
everybody's
Margarita Day,
less.
we kind of we're staffed like a normal day, but
National Margarita Day.
I ran or walked 16 miles at during my shift on National Margarita Day in the restaurant.
That's hellas.
Yeah,
damn.
it's over half a marathon that I just.
You did a half marathon because these bitches wanted margaritas. I don't know if they're bitches.
No,
they're probably really
one of them was my sister and her 2 friends, which I was able to get them to skip the 2-hour wait, and
yeah, VIP. Service.
they showed a lot of love on their end too. So I do appreciate that. I think shout out to Sarah, who I don't even know if I've ever mentioned. Maybe when she got married, but
yep, Sister Sarah.
So thank you to her and her 2 friends for coming in and showing some love
on National Margarita Day.
Yep.
I didn't know it was National Margarita Day. I missed it. That's okay. Tequila is a little further down on my
I do like, though, in the
list
future
of
covering
drinks.
cover whatever national day it is.
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting because we always record these episodes on different days of the week and different dates. So as we continue to do episodes, I'm sure we'll land on different dates. We don't always have the same dates, and we can, bring some interesting info about the dates. I like the birthdays, too, kind of. It's always a little fun to me knowing who was born on that day.
Did we go over who was born onto George Harrison?
George Harrison and Ric Flair. We gave the woos.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. We did the woos. Anything else from the server's table this weekend? Any other fun little tales? Any particular
not fun.
stories?
And maybe a little kind of a negative one from the server end.
Oh, that's all right. Go with it.
Not consumer. But I just wanted to,
I'm just going to put it out there. Don't want anybody to have the worst day of their jobs.
No. Well, I do want
I'm gonna
someone
say
to have
that
the worst day of their
at
job.
least
And
once
it's
an
this
episode.
guy. And his name is Josh Fowler. I work with him.
Full name.
And this was this was during Margarita Day.
Mm-hmm.
And he was being so negative all day, just like
Grumpy
talking about
Gus.
how bad his tables were and this and that. And he got pretty
I got
openly.
the worst tables. They're like, they don't even pay attention to me. They don't tipping me shit.
Well, he got pretty racist with it, and that's
Oh,
where I have
no.
that's where the server. I just wanted to do a little PSA,
Yeah.
because he just started saying that he was getting all black tables and how he was just very frustrated with that, and so I was saying that I had like 8 or 9 tables that were black that day, and on average from those tables, I made 25%.
Yeah.
And I pointed this out to him, and I was like, yeah. I was like, I don't know what like your problem is, but like I was showing him my check receipts from like
Yeah.
the black tables, and he was
Look,
like,
dude, it's not.
and he was still.
No, man, you're just lucky. You just don't understand.
But I do think, and I just wanted to take this time to say, if you have a
PSA.
negative perception or some kind of bias that you've created in your head, and I'll be honest, in the restaurant industry, that is one that you could see a lot of racist heads come out and
Sure.
that's spewed out. But I've had black tables not tip me 20%, but I've also had a lot of white tables not tip me 20%. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not a race thing, and I
it's
think
just a personality thing.
If you're going in with a negative mindset and you're thinking,
"Oh, I'm gonna not get anything from this table," then you're gonna give them that vibe. They're gonna pick it up. And
whether or not you think that you're treating them differently, and you're saying, like he was saying, I'm serving them the same I serve everyone else. Well, I highly doubt that.
100%, he's not.
Tables can pick up on it. Maybe you're saying the same things,
right?
Maybe your actions are the same, but like your body language, all that stuff, like
tone of voice, all of it.
And like if you're coming out and you're spending as much money as we do charge at Rosalita's, which is a high amount, and you kind of feel this, you can feel tension. Tension is a palpable thing sometimes.
Yeah, or an annoyance. If they can even pick up, like, why is this server acting like he's annoyed? And it's like, because in that guy's mind, he's already made up that he's not going to get a good tip from this table, so he treats them differently 100%.
So I just wanted to take this time to say, I've been serving for quite a while now, and I've had some of my best tables, some of my best regulars ever be black or an ethnicity other than white.
Yeah.
And so just, if you are a server and that's something that's in your mind or in your head, like,
fuck off.
Fucking grow up.
Yeah. Fuck off and grow up.
It's like, geez, man. That was a big gripe of mine. I was trying my best to at least stand not my ground. It wasn't my ground to stand, but just speak up.
But try to give this guy some different,
defend themselves.
Give him some different perspective, because clearly he needs some,
And he wasn't having it.
Yeah,
he said, "Oh, maybe they can." We're not going to get political, but.
Of course, he was getting political with it. Everybody's got to.
Yeah,
so
but
they can't even make an argument without it reverting back to their little baby friend. They got their security blanket of covering over politics. So dumb. What a world. What a world. What a world.
So that was my tales from their server table, which I just,
National Margarita Day. Shouts out. Glad it came. Glad it's over.
I was glad it came too. Jeez, hey.
Yeah, a little surprisey.
It's like working at being a florist on Valentine's Day, I imagine.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of another good example of specific businesses that are busy on specific days.
Probably like Irish pubs during St. Patrick's Day.
Totally. Big time. Yeah, the corned beef people.
yeah, that's probably a huge day for them. Any other like days where these kind of arbitrary made up
honey baked ham, like how busy are they outside of right before Thanksgiving and Christmas?
Or turkey on Thanksgiving? Yeah,
turkey.
I want to know. We should have pulled these numbers up. What is the like that big the turkey company that's Butterball?
Yeah, they're one of the big ones. Tyson's big on turkeys, just same.
I mean, what
they do all poultry.
But do you think like 80% of Butterball's like whole turkeys are sold on Thanksgiving?
So we're asking like what the percentage of Butterball's sales are that come from like Thanksgiving time of year.
Yeah, like imagine just a year that the whole country goes on strike and say we're not buying turkey this Thanksgiving. Would Butterball go out of business? That's my question.
I'm sure it would. Yeah. Because, like, how many people are buying turkeys outside of Thanksgiving time of year? I don't know many people that are, right?
Yeah. And while you're kind of looking this up, I will say there's somebody told me, it was Billy Andrews, actually. It's National Billy Day, I might as well say. Yesterday at work, he told me that we are supposed to go on strike from shopping at Walmart and Target Friday.
Any large corporation.
Okay, any large, basically that's what he was saying.
Yeah.
I didn't know how big this was. If this,
I heard about it.
He's kind of a conspiracy guy, so I never know,
No, I agree that
I can get down with that.
Yeah, the only way to try to send a message to anybody is with how you spend your money. Like, even, we're small, poor ass people, our dollars are minimal compared to rich people's dollars, like in the amount that we spend is compared to what they spend, sure. But what we do have over rich people is numbers. There's a lot more poor people in this country than there are rich people. So,
and I would say when you're talking about places like Walmart and Target, they're kind of relying on the middle, lower class.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if rich people are spending their money at Target and Walmart.
No. But in Amazon, a shit ton of there's, you want to say, oh, they're not poor, but if you're living paycheck to paycheck and you find yourself with almost $0 at the end of the month because you've paid all of your bills and you've put money aside, whatever you can do, you're poor. There's no middle class. Middle class is basically nothing. You're either well endowed and you have...
Well endowed.
Well, an endowment can be money. Yeah, it's not always about dicks.
Go ahead. Go on.
That's all right. I'm just making a point that the gap is bigger than it ever has been. There's no real middle class. And so if people that like to think of themselves as middle class, but really they're like right on the borderline, if they were out of work for 2 weeks, they risk being homeless. Like those people are poor, but they don't want us to tell them they're poor, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I kind of forgot what I was going with that point, but I can't find these, producer Tony can't find these Butterball numbers about their percentages, but around Thanksgiving. But you know it's got to be a majority of their sales are within that 1 month period of time.
Yeah, how many people are buying whole turkeys outside of Thanksgiving? Like
it's nobody.
I don't think ever in my 32 years.
Because let's be honest about something.
Has my mom been like, "Oh, we're
having turkey in April"?
Yeah.
Like, no, we're not. We're gonna have ham.
And even then, like I don't know. Like we were, spaghetti, pork chops, chicken, some kind. Every once Valentine's Day with steaks, but never.
Yeah.
Or was it like?
And you know why that is? Let's all be honest about this. Turkey is not that good. It's so easy to have it dry. It's, good turkey is hard to do. And usually we end up slopping it up with gravy and shit anyway. You know what I mean? So I think that's...
Cranberry sauce.
Cranberry sauce. I think that's why people aren't cooking turkeys year round. It's just not that good. There's a lot of other better choices. I said it. What's up? Come at me, big turkey.
I think that's starting to become pretty accepted.
Come at me, Butterball.
Starting to become pretty accepted.
That's good. That's good.
And like turkey just makes you tired too. Like,
you're gonna fall for the myth.
I think it's true.
It's a myth. The amounts of tryptophan in turkey is not enough to actually do anything to make you tired. We naturally get tired after consuming a lot of food. So if you eat a lot on Thanksgiving, you're going to be tired. It's not necessarily turkey related.
Well, this isn't very topical anyway, so, I believe you, but...
Sorry, I just wanted to make...
This is actually putting me to sleep right now.
What to the show, this is truth in media, we're going to call it. I don't want to spread misinformation, so I'm not here to perpetuate the lies about turkey making you tired. You got that? So now that we've got that out of the way, I'll tell you some of the stories.
Have you done studies on it, though?
Yeah, there have been studies on it, and that's what I'm saying. It's been proven to be a myth. It's not true that it's turkey alone that makes you tired.
I believe you.
Okay.
That's all I got. But I am literally getting tired and
talking about this. He's like, this shit is putting me to sleep. Well, yeah. So I guess, I'll tell. I had my weekend, right? And I had some gigs over the weekend.
You did?
I did. So let me think how far back should I go to give the details of this gig? So
back to when you first started drumming.
So back in the day when I first started drumming, I was a 5-year-old whippersnapper. And then I learned how to play these drums, and I still play them to this day. Yeah. So a few weeks ago, a guy named Ken, guitar player, hit me up, and I'd played some gigs with him. He played with Lone Wonders for about 6 months when we needed a guitar player. He's probably in his mid-50s, 55, 56, somewhere in that range. Fine guitar. Yeah, if you got questions,
was this the
jump
guy
in.
whose parents would come? Well, when Desi and I would come to...
No, that was Russ.
Okay, sorry.
Russ is cool. His parents are cool.
All right, go ahead.
Ken, guitar player. Fine guitar player. Anyway, he hits me up a few weeks ago and says, hey, I got this gig. It's out in, by the Huzaw Valley, Steelville, Missouri, the Huzaw River, where people do a lot of float trips here in old Missouri. It pays a few $100s plus tips. Are you interested? I'm like, yeah, gigs are gigs. I don't care if it's out in the middle of nowhere or whatever. So it's just like we get there, we set up. It's just literally in the middle of nowhere. It's like a family clan, right? Like, these brothers there's 5 brothers and then their kids, but it was all guys, like all the dudes from the family getting together for like a 4-day camp out. And they do this every year. It's like a freeze out, I guess they call it. So there was like one little tiny cabin that was like just a basic cabin, didn't have anything in it really. And then everybody else was either in tents or they had like pop-up, trailers and some of that kind of stuff. There's like 75 dudes here partying. And we they set us up like a little stage with pallets and plywood.
Hoosiers or no?
Yeah, it's little Hoosiers, kind of Hoosiers. But, Hoosiers with a little bit of money. You know the type, the Jefferson County type. Jesus. What?
Go ahead.
All right. So we do this gig. We're playing, and everybody's drinking, having a good time. We played from about 6:30 to 11. And at 11, we get done playing. And it's chilly, but they took care of us, like, with propane heaters and stuff, so it wasn't so bad. We were able to play, and not too bad. So anyway, the gig's over. They got this big bonfire going. We packed up the cars. And we're chilling because at this point they've then started to pick up what the pallets and the plywood that they had for the stage and burning it. So they're throwing all that on the fire. I mean, this fire was like 25 fucking foot high, big ass fire. And so we're just hanging out for like another hour or so by this fire, just chatting with them all, drinking, having a good time. Because there's like a little cabin that the band. So it's me, Ken, guitar player, a bass player, Don, who's Ken's friend, older guy. And then the singer is Diane, and Diane is closer to my age. She's like 36, but she sings in another cover band that I'm in. So I know her from that band. Anyhow.
The No Doubt cover band?
No, heydays. We do like 90s and 2000s pop and rock and stuff. So Diane's out there with us, so she's whatever, having a fine time. So after we're hanging out, we're trying to figure out where Ken's at. Not even like figure out. He's been sitting in his truck for like 15 minutes. And so the two trucks that we had with our gear was Don's truck and Ken's truck. My car was back at the cabin that the four of us in the band were going to be staying at after the gig. We had a cabin a little like a half a mile, 3/4 of a mile away that we were staying at. And so we dropped my car off there, and I loaded up my stuff into Don's truck so we could drive into the middle of nowhere to do the gig. So after we're hanging out at this fire, Ken is just sitting in his truck, and we're like, what's he doing? I don't know. But after a few minutes, the dude turns on his truck and decides it's time to go, I guess. So he like starts to like creep forward and try to go around Don's truck. And mind you, Don's got like a nice brand new Chevy something or other that, looks like a pretty expensive truck. Well, as Ken's trying to squeeze around him, he just crunches into Don's bumper on the side, and then everybody's like, whoa, what are you doing, man? And he's like, oh, and he just keeps trying to inch forward and like scratching against his truck even more. And everybody's like, whoa, and people like go over and like bang on Ken's hood, and it was like, fucking stop driving, back up, there's no room here, you're not gonna fit, like, what are you trying to do? And so he eventually like backs up and puts it in park, and gets out and is kind of like, what's going on? Just like giggling, and everybody's like, dude, where were you going? Like, there's not room. You were hitting Don's truck, and he's like, I don't know, I was just trying to go. And then Don's keeping a pretty level head at this point. He's like, Ken, like, what the fuck are you doing? And I guess these guys have been buddies for 30 years or so. They're longtime friends. So he's like, what are you doing, dude? He's like, oh, I just thought I was trying to go. He's like, you wouldn't understand, is what Ken then started to say to Don. He's like, oh, you wouldn't understand. It's like, what? And then like Ken kind of gets up in Don's face, and Don's like, I'll fucking kill you, dude. Like, what are you doing right now? And then Ken's like, drunkenly stumbles at Don, and Don just kind of like, shoves him down, olays him. Yeah. And then, so these dudes kind of for 10, 15 seconds wrestle a little bit. And then everybody breaks them up, and they're like, what's going on here? I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Like, we're having a good time. I, had a handful of drinks. So I'm not totally sober, but I'm not hammered by any means. Same way with Diane. So after a couple minutes of like them being separated and Ken just kind of being like, oh, and just giggling and being like, ha, 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 ha. Like anytime he's like, what the fuck are you doing? He'd be like, oh, ha, 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 ha. You don't even understand this and that. Fucking just acting crazy.
Was the truck like visibly fucked up?
So Don's truck had like a decent scrape on it, but Ken's truck had like an actual dent in the bumper. So his truck took the worst of it. Ken's did. So at least that's good. And like Don wasn't even tripping about the truck. He didn't even care about his truck. He was just like more confused with what Ken was doing, because Ken was like, Diane rode to the gig with Ken, so she was going to ride with him back to our cabin.
He was like ditching her.
Yeah, he was ditching her essentially, and we're like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? So after a few minutes of like trying to settle everybody down, talking to all the guys whose party it was, they were like, hey, just, if you guys want to head on and go. And then, Diane ended up driving Ken's truck back to our cabin with Ken and the passenger. And then me and Don took off ahead of him to get back to the cabin. So now we all four get back to the cabin, and we go inside, and Ken's just sitting on the couch and Don's sitting at the table. And, they're jawing a little bit, and I'm like, and I go in and I start talking. I'm like, Ken, like, I don't understand what is the fuck's going on. Like, he was drunk, but it didn't seem like he was like obliterated drunk, because he wasn't like slurring his speech a ton and things like that. But he kept just like, when I was like, what the fuck were you doing? He's like, oh, I just thought it was time to go. And we're like giggle. And I'm like, nobody knew you were trying to leave. And then there was no room to go. You just kept trying to leave when you were running into Don's truck. He's like, I don't know. I was like, all right, that's fucking crazy, dude.
You on drugs?
I don't know. Never known him to be a drug user, but maybe it was. I know he was drinking all night. I know that. Like, he was drinking a shit ton, so he probably was hammered, but it just, like I said, it didn't, I don't know. It was bizarre. But so then after a few, 10 minutes or so of us just all sitting there being like, what the fuck, dude? Diane still's got Ken's truck keys, and they're like, hey, Rob, will you go grab a Bluetooth speaker out of the back of Ken's truck so we can play some music while we're sitting here or whatever. I'm like, yeah, no problem. So she gives me Ken's truck keys. I go out and I'm grabbing the speaker out of the back of his truck. And as I'm coming out of the back of his truck, Ken comes around the corner and he's like, did you find it? I'm like, yeah, I found it. No problem. He's like, all right, cool. I'm like, yeah. He's like, make sure to lock the back window. I'm like, yeah, okay. So I, close there's like a camper shell on the truck. I close it. I lock the thing. And then as I start walking around the side of the truck to get it, and he's kind of following behind me, and he goes, oh, hey, wait, can I, I'm going to lock these side windows. Let me see these keys real quick. I'm like, all right, yeah. So I give him the keys, and I see him like, going to lock the side things. I turn around and start walking inside. As soon as I hit the door, Diane says, where are the keys? I said, uh-oh. I turn around. I kid you not. I see this man's brake lights and headlights just peeling off. Taking off, dude. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I got played. So this dude just
saw that coming.
Well, sure. I mean, I led you there with the story, but after we talked for 10 minutes, he seemed like he was, like understanding that he fucked up and was like, yeah, I don't know. And then like he came out so nonchalantly, was like, oh, did you find the speaker? All right, cool. And then like was starting to walk back in with me and was like, oh, hang on a second. I just want to lock this side thing. So, who am I to just question him and be like, yeah, no way, dude. I don't know.
Maybe something pressing was going on. Maybe he thought his wife was like cheating on him or something.
He doesn't have a wife.
Oh. I don't know.
But that was crazy. So after he peeled off and left us, then the other three of us just kind of sat there for another few hours being like, what the fuck just happened? So then Diane had to get a ride back into St. Louis the next day from Don because Ken drove her out there even.
So she just stayed the night?
Well, yeah, we all stayed the night at the cabin because that was the plan originally.
Except for Ken.
Yeah, Ken didn't stay there because he'd peeled off. So him leaving gave me a bed, which was nice because I would have had to sleep on like a pull-out couch otherwise. So shouts out for that.
Have you heard from him since?
He sent me a text yesterday and said, something along the lines of like, gosh, I feel like I should just pull up the text and give it to the people here. Okay, so he's like, hey man, wasn't it fun to party with us? Seriously, sorry for the drama. I'm a fucking head case. I'm sorry I tricked you into giving me the keys. Thank you for filling in too. Really appreciate it. And I was like, yeah, dude, that was a little wild. And especially at the end there, I definitely didn't appreciate being duped. It was fun up until that. And he said, in that condition, I would have duped my own mother. This was the catalyst for me to work some shit out. It was more than the booze. So I guess he had some shit going on. I don't know.
That's what he was saying.
And he said, again, I'm sorry I got you caught in the middle. Yeah, I guess that's what he was referring to, was you wouldn't understand. But it's like, that's one of my biggest pet peeves. If somebody's like mad about something and all they can say is, you wouldn't understand. It's like, oh yeah, fucking try me. Like, explain yourself, you dipshit. No, you don't have a good reason. So you just tell people you don't understand.
Well,
I don't know.
I feel like most people have, every single person has their individual story, and as humans, we get a little tied up into thinking that our problems are greater than our neighbors' problems. But it's such a cop out. You wouldn't understand.
You wouldn't understand. And I said, thanks for the apology. I hope you can get things feeling good for you, and I hope that you can work it out with Don. It seems like you guys were buddies and stuff. He's like, yeah, I talked to him today. He had the right to kick my ass. He said, I'm working on apologizing to Diane, too. And I said, yeah, well, thanks for the gig. Definitely one to remember.
That'll be your last gig with him, huh?
Yeah. But, I got my money, a few $100s plus tips. And now I got a wild story. And I know that I won't
lack
have
of
to...
self-awareness to try to throw in a wasn't that fun...
On him? Yeah, I think it was like him trying to cut the tension, I guess. I don't know. But that was a bizarre gig, one to remember. And then the next day, more fun with drunks. The next day I worked a show where I was working as a backline tech, so I provided the drums and some amps for an artist from Nashville that was playing down at the Dog Parade in Soulard. They do that every year around this Mardi Gras time. So anyway, we're doing this gig, and this band is playing, and there's an event staff kind of around, and there was like the VIP section kind of in front of the stage where people who had tickets to the party tent or whatever then had access to come in this front of the stage area, and they had drinks and stuff. So there was two, again, older dudes, probably in their late 50s or so, that were just hammered. I mean, just obliterated. These dudes were the classic, like, stumbling around and, like, crossed eyeballs. So the band starts playing, let me think, the song, Keep Your Hands to Yourself? Don't tell me no lies and keep your hands to yourself. So the band starts playing that song, and the guitar player, who wasn't the main singer, he steps up to his mic to start singing, and his microphone was either turned down or just not on at that point. So then this one drunk old guy decides it's his duty to run around the stage and get up on stage and grab the other mic, and he starts singing this song. This guy was like, I know how this song goes. I'll sing it for you, I guess. After about 30 seconds of the guy being on stage singing, somebody finally comes up and was like, dude, get the fuck off stage. What are you doing? And that was drunk guy number one. Drunk guy number two, after the concert, gets in a little altercation with the event staff because he wouldn't get away from the stage. He kept trying to, get backstage, around back of the stage where people are working and shit. And so then him and the event staff are going back and forth, and eventually the guy, like, trips on a curb, and the event staff dude pushes him down to the ground and then is, like, holding him, and the guy's fucking yelling at him. And this dude is drunk and stoned because he was smoking his one-hitters, like, right in the ear hole of the stage manager, like, as he's standing off on the side of the stage here. And that it was just, I had me a weekend of too much drunk people, man.
I think it gets to a certain age, not being able to control your liquor in your early to mid 20s. It's kind of,
it's a little bit more
understanding. You don't.
People are forgiving a little bit more when you're, like, in your 20s and you're really fucked up.
I think we should start
shaming
a bill. No, further than that. We should propose a bill, like, if after you're 30 and you make a drunken fool of yourself in public, I think 30 to life it should be because you are showing that you have not grown as a human.
Yeah.
Your ability to critically think and have self-discipline is now at question.
Right.
It is a very direct potential threat to society. 30 to 35 in life, because if you're 55 and you're fucking acting like that and you can't handle your liquor, you don't know your limit, you don't have any control over how you act in public.
I think if you start to think things just revolve around you when you're really drunk, like everything must involve you.
25 to life.
25 to life.
We have to start reevaluating some of these things, because these slap on the wrist, they're just going to do something stupid and drunkenly disorder the next time they're out. And I'll tell you where. We start at VFWs. You can go there. I guarantee
you'll find a drunk 50-something, 60-something-year-old.
Plenty of them. We will start improving society tremendously.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of been a gripe of mine for a long time. It's like we talk about, we want to prevent drinking and driving, yet we have thousands of bars and events where people are expected to come and spend money on drinks and stuff. And then we tell them, but don't drive home. Yeah, right. That's the biggest lie we've ever tried to tell as a society, that we want people to come and spend their money on drinking, but then, whatever. Don't drink and drive. Oh, you have all these Uber and taxi options now. No, that's not how it happens. And everybody knows that, but they do it anyway. I don't know. I just got a whole gripe with the whole let's get fucked up beyond belief crowd. Like, don't get me wrong. I love me a beer. I love me 2 beers. But, like, I'm pretty comfortable in knowing where my limit's at, like, on how to have a good buzz but not get out of control. I feel like.
Yeah, and I have the same gripe with people, even with smoking weed, like or Xanax. Like, if you're smoking or doing Xanax to the point where you're not coherent and all you can do is sleep, like, why do it?
Yeah, what's the enjoyment about it? And it's like, if I have one beer that makes me feel like I got a fucking head that's gonna explode the next day, like if I've had one past that line where I feel so much like shit the next day, I instantly have 2-3 less beers ever present. I don't ever want to feel that shitty again. So people that can get that hammered and then wake up the next day feeling shitty and then go ahead and get that hammered again the next day or the next weekend. I don't understand that.
That text from Ken to you should have been like, I hate myself. This will be the last you ever hear from me. I am seriously ashamed. And instead of saying, I would have done that whole thing to my mom, Ken, you should change your fucking number. You should move out of state. You should change your whole life, because you should not show your face around your friends again. You should be so ashamed that in your 50s.
He was the one that organized this gig. He's friends with the people whose party it was, and it's like he was the one showing his whole ass there.
There's a scene in Game of Thrones where Cersei Lannister, I don't know if you're familiar, she is shamed. She's stripped naked to walk amongst the townspeople, and they all just yell, "Shame, shame, shame, shame."
Yeah, we should bring that back big time,
because it doesn't seem like, just from Ken's text to you,
he feels total shame.
The public humility he should feel for acting an ass, screwing over Diane and making her kind of figure it out on the fly, running into his friend.
And I'll give all credit to her, because I mean, she was like, look, I'm a mother of 3 young kids. This is a night off for me. I know that, like, I'm staying at a place, so I'm going to have a few drinks. As that all starts to break out, she's like, fuck you guys. Like, this is my night off. I'm not supposed to be playing fucking mother right now. This is horse shit. And I'm like, right on, Diane. Like, you're 100% right. So she's good at standing her ground. But, yeah, fuck him for that,
Yeah, I just think that there's not enough public humiliation that goes around.
Yeah.
There's some one-offs and things where your temper can get involved and maybe you say something you don't mean. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you just...
I mean, look at Morgan Wallen. The dude gets drunk and throws N-words out, and everybody's like, it's fine. No, let's let the public shame happen, brother.
Yeah, and in that, I do think it's a little different instance, because he was being recorded at the privacy of his house, and not saying that I agree with his use of it.
Yeah.
He wasn't referring to
a person of that, but still.
He was talking to his friend. But there's a little different when he's at his own house, and he's being recorded because he is famous by TMZ, than going and making a fool of yourself in public.
Yeah. Yep. He's still making a fool of himself while drunk, and everybody was easy to forgive. Is basically what I'm getting at. So I've had it with extremely hammered and drunk people, or inebriated in any kind of way. If you can't control your shit, stay out of public. I don't want to deal with you. So that's my rant. I don't know if you got anything else you wanted to add to all that.
No, I mean I did. I just think that public humiliation needs to make a comeback. If you don't show the proper remorse, maybe get stripped naked.
Yeah.
Walk in front of all the people that you acted like that, and they can yell shame or whatever they want to yell at you.
Shame. Yep. No. But in other gig news, there's some potential band opportunity coming my way that I might start playing with a group that's full-time musician, plays Friday, Saturday, Sunday, most weekends, and might be getting on with that group. So that'd
What
be
group
good.
is this? What do they play?
It's a country group. They're called Clover. Adam Fazio is the lead guy. Is kind of a mid-20s dude, singer, guitar player. Kind of that standard country bro right now. But he doesn't do a lot of the bro country like the Zach Bryan or stuff, I guess. I don't know. But if you would have told me 10 years ago, 5 years ago, that I would be in any sort of country group, I wouldn't have believed you. But hey, you got to go where the money is. What? What is? Me moving this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes it happens, brother. All of our other podcasts have a little microphone noise, too. Xavi's trying to tell me secrets like I don't know over here about my microphone being picked up when I'm moving it around.
You will be playing Morgan Wallen in this band, right?
Who knows? Could be. Could be, brother.
Bob's selling out, guys. But hey, sometimes you have to.
Hey, look at where the market's at. If you're playing live music, being in those
Luke
country
Combs?
groups.
Will you be playing some Luke Combs?
Could be. Could be.
You don't have the set list yet?
No, I just started talking to the guy yesterday about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Recent developments. But, it's good. I'll probably be playing less big bonfires in the middle of nowhere playing these kind of gigs, It'll be good.
Hey, a lot more Midwestern gigs, maybe?
Yeah. Like, there's Main Street St. Charles has 3 different country venues that
Your
this
favorite.
guy plays at. Oh, yeah, dude. Me and the St. Charles County folks are going to be good friends.
The end goal is to be doing music full time. So overall, I'd say it's a net positive for you. Sometimes,
yeah, it is. You got to go where the opportunities are, and so this is a next kind of step opportunity to get in with a band that plays this regularly. So that's good. Positives out of the weekend. So weekend, a lot of down things, if you will, for me, but ended on a positive note.
You going into country music and it being National Billy Day, is it new nickname, is it now Billy Bob?
Nope. No, it's Billy Rob.
Billy Bob.
Billy Rob.
We love to hear it, though.
Do we?
And hey, maybe that'll introduce you to some more.
Open up other doors.
Yeah,
I mean, that's how the music business works. You got to kick down one door to kick down another door and kick down another door. It's always about making sure you just step through that door once you kick it open.
We'll be making our country album this year, though, right?
Yeah, we're coming for you, Shabuzi.
It's so, not to slander any, I'm going to tell you this as somebody who writes music.
let me tell you something.
It is the easiest, and I mean by landslides, easiest genre to write. And there's no shame to that. I mean, hey.
And I think that's why.
Work smarter, not harder.
I think that's part of the reason why I'm like, yeah, I'll jump into this band. Like, the shows will be pretty simple. I get to play not difficult stuff on the drums, but I'm get to play it really tight, and people are gonna have a good time.
Hell, and you would do much better than me, but this is a genre where if you got sick on a night and you need to call your buddy Xavi to come play the drums, I could figure it out for some country music.
Yeah, dude. If you can,
I'm joking, of course.
You and the AC/DC drummer both could do it.
I am joking. It still is way more technically skilled, needed in country music than I could play, but it's just a joke. And I have even came around to enjoy some country.
It's all about bringing the vibes, but people,
it is. It's a good.
But people like that simplistic approach to the music. They don't want to have to pay close attention to understand what the song's trying to tell them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there is definitely times where I, never by myself, but country music sometimes is the vibe. Sometimes.
But and this
overall,
time of year is it's getting to be that time of year where country music is the vibe. Like, as soon as spring pops up and the weather gets to be about 70 degrees, I can hear me a little bit of chicken fried on a Friday night or whatever.
I'm telling you, I like Luke Combs a lot. Big
Big Luke Combs
burly
guy.
gentleman. He's a big burly gentleman. But I do. Man, there's a couple bush lights in your hand out
Yeah.
by one of them bonfires.
Mm-hmm.
Right before Ken starts fucking losing his mind. That's when the
Just
country music
chilling
starts.
on a dirt road.
Yeah, there's I can't even think of off the cuff. There is a few songs I love, but anyway,
Red
I guess-
Solo Cup.
now you're stuck in like the early 2010s here.
Yeah, well,
Rest in peace, Toby Keith.
give me
right?
something new. I don't know. Besides Shabuzi.
He's dead.
Toby Keith?
Dead, right?
I don't know.
I feel like he died recently.
Let's get producer Tony
Pope-
on this.
The Pope, by the way,
Could be dying.
dying soon.
Yeah, he did die. February 5th, 2024. Almost a year ago. A little over a year.
Yeah. So
I did hear about the Pope being sick.
and it's funny, not funny. Yeah, it's ironic. I just watched Conclave.
Isn't it ironic?
I just watched Conclave last week, and that whole movie's about the Pope dying, and then the Conclave
Yeah.
is where they go to pick
All the bishops.
Pretty good movie. I did enjoy it.
Yeah. And I'm trying to remember. So what do they do? Is it black smoke until they pick a new one and then white smoke? Or is it white smoke and then they pick a new one? And then it's black smoke once they get the new one?
I'm pretty sure because
I kind of like that. Isn't that kind of fun? Like it's a nice little signaling to the people of what's happening.
well, yeah, and in the movie they represented that, and the only reason I can remember that freshly is, like I said, I just watched Conclave.
Yeah.
And they're all gathered around, and white smoke comes out, and they're like, oh.
So white smoke means they don't have
They
one.
don't.
Right? Yeah. And then
But
black
people are
smoke is they do.
But watch Conclave if you have. It's not for everybody. I think.
What other
but-
things do you think in society and life we should use the smoke signaling for? Like, the Jets have picked their new quarterback. Send up the black smoke.
No, dude. We'd run out of black smoke. We'd run out of black smoke.
Every day they're sending up black smoke and then white smoke the next.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. White smoke, gas prices going up. Black smoke, gas
Coming
prices
down.
are coming back down,
Yeah,
dude.
that'd be
Everybody
good.
fucking, yeah,
If we
fuck yeah.
stock market triggering.
Yeah.
The stock market's going up. Send up the white smoke. Or I
Black
guess
smoke.
black smoke.
Black
yeah.
smoke equals good news, which
Right,
I
right,
like
right.
that we're using. Usually you would think like
Sure.
it would be the
The
opposite.
light and the dark.
I like doing the black smoke.
Lightness is good. Darkness is bad. Like, that's how people view it. But I like that
there is a
opposite,
20% chance that that I have fucked this up, and it is indeed the white
Oh.
smoke. But I'm pretty. I'm
Now
pretty
we
I'm
gotta
pretty
get
sure.
producer Tony
I'm pretty
on it.
sure it's the black smoke signifies new pope. Because I remember
Dude.
watching.
That's a good. Oh, I was gonna say Pope Smoke would be a good rapper's name, but you got Pop Smoke,
Pretty close to Pop Smoke,
Yeah.
who's also dead.
right? But Pope Smoke, wouldn't that be good?
Billie Jean,
Billie
Jean, Christian Dior. Billie Jean, another Billie Jean King, another Billie that we're gonna remember on National Billie Day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Well, I can't get to the information quick
I'm
enough.
pretty sure. But chime in with your.
That's all right. If we got it wrong, somebody will correct us on the news and notes for next time. So we're just gonna stick with that. The white smoke is bad. Black smoke means we got the new one picked. That's what we're gonna say.
So this movie, should I talk about the movie at all, or I just
Conclave?
recommend it to everyone? And it is kind of
That's
new.
all right. You just recommend it unless you want us get into specifics.
Okay. Well, yeah. Good. I'll let that ride. So, well, we do have spring training on the horizon, and
That Four Nations just wrapped up with
oh
hockey.
yeah, Four Nations, and
That was a great move on the NHL's part for setting up that tournament. Good foresight to understand people didn't really care to see another All-Star break, and they wanted to see best on best.
I mean, by God, was it a success?
Yeah. Yep. I hope there is some
Fouls.
what am I looking to say? Just some sustained fandom brought to the game because of that tournament. I hope that it, not just like fleeting people being interested. I hope that there's some actually built up, sustained fan base from that tournament. And I think that it was competitive enough and interesting enough that people will tune in more to regular hockey.
Yeah, I don't know though, because I feel like during the World Cup, I get really into it, and
Yeah, that's fair.
I never leave the World Cup being more into soccer than I was before.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
But, Canada did get the better of us in the second game, and a large part it was kind of bittersweet because we got to see our hometown goalie do what he does best, and that is
hometown goalie, baby.
He shows up in
big moments, big time bitter.
My God, the save that he made in overtime.
Yeah,
it did win them the game. That game would have been over on Brady Tkachuk.
And that's what it takes. That's for a goalie to have that clutch moment. All he's got to do is give the team the chance, and so by him saving it,
in Boston again. I mean, Bennington is an absolute killer. He's a stone cold killer, and I think for St. Louis, if you take anything out of this Four Nations, you can watch it because I know we get frustrated with Bennington a lot as the season goes on, but that's just a reminder. Like he's a big time. He's a gamer. And you get to playoffs, and that is your goalie. I don't know if I'd want any other goalie in a big moment than 5-0. And Connor McDavid, I mean, what a moment for him. The hockey world got to see.
Stud muffin.
I mean, just bing, bang, boom. That is the last guy you want with if you're Connor Hellebuck there is not another player on the planet.
Jesus, this guy again.
Just gets the pass right in front, and I knew that the game was over before the puck left McDavid's stick.
Yeah.
It's
zip, boom, bop, into the scop.
Game
blouses.
Yep.
So that was a good tournament. Shouts out to the NHL for that. Looking forward to the Olympic tournament next time we get to do that one.
Yeah, but it's all got an asterisk until Russia can compete because.
Yeah, but that was their choice. They decided to be aggressive with Ukraine.
Well, it's not necessarily their choice.
Oh, it wasn't Russia's choice to be.
Do you think any of these Russian hockey players were like, "Yeah, let's go attack Ukraine"? I don't.
That's not what I said. I said it was Russia's choice.
Yes, but I'm talking about these Russian hockey players who.
But if they're gonna play, you're not gonna invite a national team from a country that's perpetuating violence.
Why not? Didn't Germany compete in the Olympics during
that was 80 years ago?
Okay, but it was made for a very memorable Jesse Owens winning, and
that was before the World War even happened. That wasn't during war. The Nazis were just the controlling party of Germany.
This is not a world war right now.
No, but they are in war with the neighboring country that they started. So
okay, but what
why invite them to send a national team to compete in your national tournament?
So you agree that because a conflict with Russia and Ukraine makes you not want to see Ovechkin play hockey? That's your thoughts?
It makes me not want to see the Russian national team play.
I could not.
Disagree
I more.
would love to see Russian players play, but I don't want to see a national Russia team.
I just couldn't disagree more. I mean, this is about hockey, so we should ban all Russian players from the NHL then.
No, because it benefits the players. It doesn't benefit the country.
Because Ovechkin is chasing right now. Alexander Ovechkin is 13 goals away from passing Wayne Gretzky for most all-time goals.
I love that. I love Ovechkin.
But why?
And I love a lot of Russian players.
But
me loving Russian hockey players and wanting them to have success in the NHL doesn't translate to me then wanting to have a Russian national hockey team
Putin
play.
Is rooting for Ovechkin right now?
He probably is, but that doesn't matter. It's not giving him any more wealth or money to the country or eyes on the country.
I don't know about that.
How does Ovechkin scoring a bunch of goals directly benefit monetarily Russia? It doesn't.
I mean, I think you could argue because Ovechkin is probably the most famous guy in Russia outside of Vladimir Putin.
Could be.
I mean, and he's coming into North America, he is going to break a record that many people thought would never be broken.
Right.
That is going to give, if not monetary gain, it's going to give a lot of clout to Russian hockey.
Yeah, in a sense. But I mean, I think people have a respect for Russian hockey players and know that they're talented. I don't think that's.
And if it wasn't for the Russians, you'd be speaking German right now.
I mean, partially, yeah. Partially. But it's also like Germany did that to themselves. They didn't have to invade Russia.
Yeah,
they didn't have to
sure
open up two fronts of war.
We can
idiots.
we can find a agreement there. Yeah, Germany, they got a little ahead of their skis. They didn't know them Russians were crazy now.
All that meth they were doing, dude. The Germans got real bold.
Yeah. Russia was like, hell no. But I am rooting for Ovechkin. I mean, this is crazy. He just got a hat trick the other night.
I root for Ovechkin. I do not root for Russia, the country.
I told you we are not fucking suck. That's what he said. They won the Stanley Cup. Oh, God. He's great, dude. And he just got a hat trick the other night. He's 13 away.
Yeah. What country is that? The NBA dude from? He's like an Eastern European.
Serbia.
Okay.
Nikola Jokic.
Yes, that guy.
He's Serbian.
Serbian.
Luka Doncic's mom is from Serbia, and he is Slovenian. His dad is from Slovenia. So
yeah. And I think it's like all those Eastern European countries, if they've already established their independent country self, then like why does Russia gotta fuck with them? So why do they gotta fuck with Ukraine? I don't know.
I hear what you're saying. I'm just like, it just felt like.
Trust me,
like
I
the Miracle on Ice, like we had that was during the Cold War,
right?
And I mean, we would never had that moment if U.S. was like, we're not going to play USSR, like.
But it was a little different because Russia wasn't actively engaged with war with another country at that time.
Weren't they engaged in war with us?
It was a Cold War because there was no official battles going on between our two countries. We fought proxy wars in Korea and what's the other one? Vietnam. Like those were proxy wars essentially between communist Russia being on providing weapons to one side and then U.S. providing weapons and aid to the other side. So essentially we fought wars with Russia between those other kind of wars. But anyway, it wasn't like direct conflict where Russia was the ones taking responsibility for that action. Like it is now with Ukraine. You know, Russia was the one that aggressed into Ukraine. And so people were like, well, we're not going to invite you to do shit internationally because that's fucked up.
The Cold War led to the United States faking the moon landing.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
I
mean, I know that, the space race and all that, we needed to get to the moon.
Do you think the moon landing was fake? Buzz Aldrin he gets so worked up about it. It's like the fact that you do get so worked up, Buzz, leads me to believe this was all a crock of shit.
I don't know. I don't think it's a crock of shit, but I also never really cared enough to look into it. It seems likely. Like, why would... I don't know.
America tends to have this holier-than-thou attitude.
Sure. Especially now in the last 70 years, more than ever, we'd like to have this holier-than-thou attitude.
Let's change the Redskins' name. That doesn't change the fact that we came over and slaughtered and raped and pillaged millions of Native Americans, and now we're acting like, oh, you can't have your team name be the Redskins. I mean, fuck off. Like, just fuck off.
Fuck the right off.
It's crazy. And I said this the other day. We're not a political podcast.
We're not a political podcast.
You know, we want to keep all these, ICE is taking all these illegals and just we're coming in and, bullying these illegals around. Like, let's just not forget that this country was founded by just coming and taking land that we did not have. And yes, there was not a government per se, but
God told us we have eminent domain. White people have a right to this land.
It just pisses me off. It's just, the victors tell the story, but and that always has. And this goes back to Romans and all that shit, which we don't really have the time for. But it's like it just
history always
the hypocrisy
benefits the victors
in all of our actions.
It's insane. That's like one of my favorite sayings is history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes because. Like, we've gone through things like this before, and people just want to forget about it, and then they have to go through the same shit.
The very small percentage of natives that were left a little small bit of land and told them they can have their own rules.
Yeah,
and
it was thousands of miles away from their original tribe's lands.
It's the effects today is just that a lot of them struggle with depression and alcoholism and a large number of suicides. But hey, at least the Redskins are the commanders now.
Yeah.
At least the Indians are the guardians now. It's like, we're
giving them what they had before. We're trying to make it right? We're doing all we can. We didn't make them walk all the way to these reservations, and half of them died on the journey. Yeah, we don't got to talk about that. Trail of Tears. I don't know. Jesus,
it got dark here.
Well, sometimes it's got to.
But we
you plunged us into Russia.
We are
talked about and don't get me wrong. I would have liked to see Russia play probably more than Finland.
And Sweden.
So
I would have been fine with a 3 nations tournament.
So don't get me wrong. I would be in favor of seeing Russia in the tournament if Russia can just mind their own fucking business and stop killing people in other countries. Does that seem fair? I don't know.
I don't know, because that's what I'm saying. It's are we gonna hold ourselves to that same standard? Like, how many times have we stuck our nose into shit that we shouldn't have been in?
Yeah, Bay of Pigs. I know we do.
So that's my I hear what you're saying, but it's like we're being like so righteous as to say, well, we won't stand for this, but that's because it's like it's just good for United States' public perception,
right?
And we're leaving these
Russia
players
needs to be a little more covert in their actions, then, and then they could still be invited to things. And the other way is these other countries, they all get together and they say, United States, we're not going to invite you. If they do that, then what are we going to do? But nobody else has done that yet, so. Fuck off. I guess now's a good time to talk about Mount Rushmores.
Speaking of rivalries.
So we're still going through our Mount Rushmore of rivalries, and this week we decided to do NFL rivalries in our Mount Rushmore.
I wish we had some theme music. We could start getting some theme music for
during the Mount Rushmore segment. Yeah. Oh man, the production quality in the show is going to increase.
Yeah, so I'm saying it's 2025 is a year of improvements.
Yeah, for some people, us, not all people. So you want to get
sit, talk, and improve.
Sit, talk, and improve. You want to just jump right into it then, Xavi? So we.
All right, go ahead.
Yep. So this was another consensus Mount Rushmore. We didn't do one individually because only 32 teams to choose from. So first up, we have Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens rivalry. That's AFC East.
That is the AFC North.
AFC North rivals go back a long time. What do you got to say?
Yeah, so we're not gonna do all the stats and stuff this week just because NFL, I feel like, it is the most popular sport and a lot of these people kind of know at least the outskirts of the rivalry.
I've heard of those teams.
And Steelers Ravens there is a lot of hatred there. It's two teams that play they usually play a similar style. It's very heavy defense, heavy run game,
old school smash mouth football.
100%. And they hate each other. Both teams have been competitive now for, it seems like, the better half of the last 30 years, right?
Yeah, at least 30 years. I mean, it's hard to remember a time in my lifetime that I could think that the Baltimore and Steelers weren't competitive. They've at least been pretty competitive with each other.
Since the Baltimore Colts moved to Baltimore, became the Ravens, right?
Yeah.
Is that
I
what
don't
happened?
know what year that was. That was was it 70s or 80s?
No, Baltimore Colts didn't become the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens were the Cleveland Browns, I think.
Yes, that's what it was. Cleveland Browns moved to Baltimore. Baltimore moved to Indianapolis. And then Cleveland got a expansion team later that then became the Browns. So, yeah, Baltimore and Pittsburgh geographically aren't very far from each other, so it makes sense, that those two teams would become pretty good rivals.
Very blue-collar fan bases, would you say?
Yeah. Yep. I always love that.
Me too.
When people, I love,
You're being sarcastic.
I'm just saying, when people always, they got such a blue-collar fan base.
I do think in this case
it's a little demeaning sometimes, it
adds,
feels like.
No, it adds to the rivalry. It's a bunch of people that are very proud.
Yeah. And I think, it's a way to basically express you have fans that are more fanatical than than not. Like the observer fans. Like if you go to LA or something like that, it's mostly like little stuck-up folks who aren't going to show a lot of emotion over their sports team.
So Bob may be saying it satirically. I'm not. I think that the blue-collar fandom, and like he just expressed, there's a lot of passion amongst those fan bases, and it goes to, the steel curtain of the 70s. And I don't think I think at that point it was still the Baltimore Colts, but Steelers, very historically successful team,
right?
And that's but the crest of it going into the early 2000s, and you have the Ray Lewis, Ed Reed teams going against the Ben Roethlisberger, Heinz Ward, Troy Polamalu, James Harrison.
We're going to talk about that man's hair. I mean, gosh, gorgeous locks.
You have the two best safeties in the NFL for 10 years. Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu being on both those teams. Two head coaches right now in the league, and John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin, both being very predominant figures in the head coaching world. You had, like I said, Ben Roethlisberger throughout a long stretch of that, and Joe Flacco transitioning into Lamar Jackson. Both team of it's a great rivalry. The teams hate each other. Both teams are competitive. Sometimes they play 3 times a year.
Right. Yeah, they end up meeting in the playoffs a lot. I'm trying to think when the last time they met in the playoffs would have been. It was probably 7 years ago.
You could probably pull that up real quick.
Pull it up, producer Tony.
I think it was probably more recent than 7.
Well, we're not going to just...
Did they play this year?
2020.
2020.
Oh, nope. I'm sorry. I'm reading the wrong page. I'm looking at one of the other rivalry matchups. Yikes. That's all right. That's all right. Oh. Are you just going to look it up, or just going to let it sit here dead air?
I am. You could do some talking here.
I'm looking it up myself. We can't both look it up. It doesn't matter.
So they're it was they played this year
in the playoffs,
in the wild card round. Yeah.
Oh God, we're tripping.
No, I said that they played this year.
I forgot.
The Ravens beat the Steelers 28-14 in the wild card round.
Yep. Gosh, what an idiot.
So
glad we spent the time for that one.
Well, I was thinking that was the case, but anyways.
You should have said it then.
I did.
Well, why did we have to?
I said I think it was this year. I was just trying to confirm it. That's why I was pulling my phone up.
Okay.
But that kind of wraps up that rivalry. And the next rivalry is one that is near and dear to my heart, and that is a one-sided rivalry. And that is the Jets and the Patriots.
The Jets and the Patriots, both out of the AFC East, been in that same division since the team's inception in the 1960s.
And not a lot of positive memories for me on this one.
But it kind of ties into the Boston and New York, rivalry as it is. So it was kind of destiny for these two teams to hate each other.
I can assure you that there is a lot of hatred on both sides of the fan base, which kind of is the reason, we end up going with this one, even though it tends to be when there is one-sided rivalries in a lot of cases that people kind of, from the national perspective, don't really view it as that. But
right.
This one still gets broadcasted nationally when they play.
Yeah, people are interested in watching these two teams when they get together because they usually provide a pretty energetic game, I'd say.
Yeah, but
and then there's the whole Belichick, storyline, being the coach of the Jets and then not being the coach of the Jets, going to the Patriots.
He did. He resigned. He resigned before he even stepped in the office. And
he said, "Not for me."
Went to New England, and obviously everybody else knows the history. I will say the most positive day as a Jets fan was we did beat them in the divisional round in 2011. Probably my favorite day ever as a Jets fan, knocking the Tom Brady-led Patriots out of the playoffs. Bart Scott gets on the mic and infamously says, "We will see you next week in Pittsburgh."
Yeah, that was a good one.
That game did not go according to plan.
Yeah, that was a good one.
But overall, it is it's a fun rivalry. I don't know if you have any.
Well, there's a lot of personal stories between the two teams as far as a lot of movement between front office executives and coaches and things like that going between both the teams. Some of them being on the Patriots first and then going to the Jets, and some going to the Patriots after working for the Jets. We don't have to get into the details of that, but there's been some bad blood even on the front office side between these two teams. It's not all on the field rivalry, so it's rivalry across the board.
Yeah, my two favorite Jets of all time have played for both the Patriots and the Jets. Curtis Martin leaving the Patriots for the Jets, and obviously people remember Curtis Martin as a Jet.
Now, in all that time of the Jets and Patriots playing each other, since the 60s, twice a year, they've only met 3 times in the playoffs. Do you know what the record is?
2-1 Jets?
2-1 Patriots.
Well, that fits right into it.
Yeah, but the overall percentage is not so distant. Patriots only have about 18 more victories in the head-to-head matchup over the years, so it's not that big of a recency. Might look a little bit more skewed.
Well, as I was saying, Curtis Martin goes on to have a Hall of Fame career with the Jets after leaving New England.
Yeah,
Darrelle Revis having a Hall of Fame career with the Jets, but
Revis Island, baby.
Yeah, but he won a Super Bowl with New England, and that
stings.
It stings. It does sting. So moving on.
Third of our Mount Rushmore on NFL rivalries, the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. These two teams have also been playing in the same division since the 60s. So meeting each other twice a year. What do you think?
I think as much as I think the perception of Steelers and Ravens fans is pretty positive, right? Like we could say, I don't really like the Steelers. I do like Baltimore historically.
But I do think that those fan bases have more mutual respect for each other.
I don't hate their fan bases.
Now,
I will say this is the Dallas Eagles. I don't know if there's 2 more hated fan bases in football, but maybe New England. We talked about most hated fan bases one time.
Yeah,
Kansas City's getting.
I think they were just like they were annoying when the team was good, and Kansas City's kind of saying they're annoying when the team is good. But these Cowboys and Eagles fans, even when the team are terrible, the fans are equally as annoying. So there's no off switch.
Yeah. But that being said, it makes for that rivalry to be. 2 insufferable fan bases clashing goes against how strong this rivalry is. I think that you could call up any Cowboys or Eagles fan, and they would say their most hated team is each other, right?
Yeah, it has. I would say easily that'd be the majority of people's answers for who the most hated team is on their part.
And historically, 2 competitive teams, I'd say. Obviously the Eagles have been pretty good for the better part of the last 20 years.
Yeah,
the Cowboys, them as well. Obviously the run was the 90s, but a lot of times, like the Cowboys have been the people the team that falls short in the playoffs. With Tony Romo, with Dak Prescott, they can win 13 games in the regular season and choke in the playoffs. And
right. So it's a similar head-to-head record like the Jets and Patriots. Cowboys have about 18 more victories over the Eagles in the head-to-head matchups over the years. They've met 4 times in the playoffs, with the Cowboys holding a 3-1 record in playoff matchups. And that was in 1980 NFC Championship game. The Eagles won that one. And then the Cowboys won the next 3 meetups, and that was 1992, 1995, and 2009.
And how can you talk about this rivalry without mentioning, I'm going to say, can you guess the one player that I'm going to think of?
Terrell Owens.
Yeah, Terrell Owens.
Gotta love him. I do love me some T.O. So.
At the peak of T.O.
Yeah.
The infamous him doing push-ups in his driveway, or sit-ups in his driveway, crunches. He had all that beef with Donovan McNabb, then leaves in the prime of his career and goes to the rival Dallas Cowboys, where he had another 3 or 4 very successful seasons. When I think Cowboys-Eagles rivalry, I think Terrell Owens is kind of the face of that.
Yeah, there's definitely he's a big character in that rivalry as far as like people that you think about involved in it.
Get your popcorn ready.
I do love me some T.O. I do love me some T.O. Wow.
Me too. I mean, Terrell Owens, he's like almost like a stable Antonio Brown. Is that?
Yeah, I'd say he's got that same personality type. It seems like
He's like the diva without the crazy, I'd say.
right.
You know, I love Terrell Owens, one of my top probably 5 favorite players of all time. And I'd be remiss to talk about this rivalry, but everybody has to know right now, right? The 2 teams we haven't named.
For our last Mount Rushmore of NFL rivalries.
I'll give you 5 seconds before we say it. Everybody listening, think to themselves.
Do, 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 do,
And that is
the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers. Obviously, these are 2 teams that have been playing for a really long time. They played each other first in 1921. So these 2 teams have been playing for over 100 years. And geographically, they're close, obviously. That's kind of where the rivalry stemmed from. And these are 2 teams that, regardless if they're competitive with the rest of the league, when they meet each other, when they have a matchup with the other team, you're always going to get their best game.
100%. I think this might be the closest thing to a college football rivalry that we have in the NFL as far as historical relevance. These are both teams that and
210 meetings, the league's most played matchup.
I mean, yeah, they were early NFL before the merger.
Right.
These teams hated each other. Like Green Bay and Chicago are probably an hour and a half apart from each other.
Yeah, something like that.
Pretty easy trip to make, and I mean,
so let's see. We have the Packers hold about a 11 game lead over the Bears and wins in their matchups all time.
And that is, I feel like before Rodgers, the Bears had the advantage in that rivalry.
Yeah, like historically,
because Aaron Rodgers is their dad.
Bears daddy.
As much as I've been soured on Aaron Rodgers and the whole Jets experience, back when it seems like a lifetime ago, where I did love A-Rod, and I loved what he.
But that was long ago.
I mean, he whooped the Bears' ass, and he let them know about it.
It's true. It's 100% true.
And I think that led to even more hatred, like just fuel, just continue to be put on this fire. And before Rodgers, you have Brett Favre for all those years. And when you think of Green Bay and you think of Chicago, I think of snow. I think of snow games. I mean, it's both historically very.
I think of Brian Urlacher, big old linebackers, Mean Joe Green, just tearing motherfuckers apart.
Joe Green for the Steelers, but Mike Singletary.
That's who was I thinking of? There was some dude.
Probably Mike Singletary for the
linebacker for the Bears. Who
Yeah,
am I thinking? Who's a big linebacker for the Bears?
Dick
like in the
Butkus.
80s.
Mike Singletary.
Okay, I guess that's who I was thinking of.
Yeah, it has to be. But I mean, Dick Butkus was on that team too. And then
Wait, Dick Buttkiss? Whose butts you kissing? All right, I had to get it out.
you did spend some time in Steelville.
So, of all the time that these teams have played each other, only met in the playoffs twice. Can you name the most recent one? 2010. Does that sound familiar? You remember that game? 2010 NFC
Jay Cutler,
championship game.
And the Packers won.
Packers won 21-14. And that was when Aaron Rodgers officially became the Bears' daddy.
Yeah, so and I don't think this rivalry is going anywhere anytime soon. I mean, they hate each other.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think
I think that covers about all of our Mount Rushmores. Oh, we have some notable, honorable mentions.
We do.
So some of the rivalries of the NFL that we thought were good rivalries, but didn't necessarily surpass the other ones that we picked. So we got the Colts and the Patriots rivalry. That was a hot one as we had Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, going head to head for years.
And I think there's some still lingering hate as
lingerers.
Yeah.
And then we have 49ers and Dallas is another good rivalry mention. Those two teams were some of the best teams in the NFC throughout the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
And then you have the Chiefs and the Bills, kind of the 49ers and Dallas rivalry of today. Two of the best teams in the AFC, and they became rivals because they meet
more
in
accurate
big game.
would be they're more of the Colts Patriots of today, where
well, sure.
The
Well, they
Chiefs
just
being
meet
the
in the
Patriots.
they meet in the playoffs, and that's where the rivalry kind of stems a lot from.
more of a Josh Allen Patrick Mahomes rivalry.
Yeah, that's a good point, I suppose. And then our last honorable mention, the Raiders and the Broncos. These two teams usually have feisty games.
I wanted to get a Raiders rivalry in there because like that fan base is one where it's not very California. I mean, like the Raiders Nation.
The ride or dies.
I love Raiders Nation. Their fans are wild.
Great blue-collar fan base.
I don't know about that. I don't even know what the Raiders fans is just. It's different. I mean, they're kind of up there with the Cleveland fan base, right?
Yeah.
The dog pound.
Rabidness. Yeah, I'd say.
So I wish we could have got the Raiders in there, and but just they haven't been good really that much in recent years.
They fucking suck. No, I don't know.
And unlike New England, and because I can recognize the Jets haven't been good in recent years, but that Boston, New England, the Boston, New York hate for each other kind of.
Boston and New York hate for each other. That was a good. I mean, I feel confidently about our Mount Rushmore. So, we gave them the honorable mention. So what else can you do?
Yeah, and then next week we'll probably do NBA.
Yeah, we have NBA rivalries, NHL rivalries, college basketball rivalries, and I think that would then cover most of the major sports leagues as far as rivalries go, because that's kind of what we're working our way down here.
Yeah.
Sports rivalries, Mount Rushmore. We got Dottie the pig's upstairs sliding her water bowl around the kitchen.
That's what I was trying to figure
being
out.
distracting.
But yeah, so this has been fun. I do enjoy just even sitting and thinking about like rivalries because it starts flooding back these memories of watching these games and
talking, listening, and thinking. That's what we're here for.
So do we have anything else that?
The dossier is looking a little empty. Well, if you got, I don't know, a little freestyle action. If you had anything else that you wanted to bring up this week that I wasn't thinking about or hadn't mentioned, now's your chance.
I think we covered about everything that I wanted to get into. Maybe I don't know what plans are for the rest of the week with you. I'm off.
I do like doing that. I like a little look forward action.
I'm off till Saturday, so I'm gonna have some these next few days. Hopefully get some stuff done. Friday is my sister's 22nd birthday, and the Fam Bam is going to the zoo for trivia night at the zoo.
That'll be fun.
I'm really looking forward to that. And
before
that, we're doing a blind soda taste test. That's kind of stemmed from the group chat of my brother saying that he hates any of the zeros, and my sister Sarah and I insisting that I don't think blindly he would be able to know which one was A&W zero versus the regular A&W.
Fully leaded.
So we're gonna go root beer, Mountain Dew, Pepsi, and Coke.
Yeah.
And do the blind taste test to see.
I think some of those you'll be able to tell.
Yeah, but it'd just be fun anyway.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And I think you could tell the difference between what's regular and what's not. But it'll be interesting, like if you're somebody blindly tasting and don't drink these sodas often.
Take note of how he does.
Maybe and we're all going to do it, but
we'll take note of how everybody does as far as which ones they could tell the difference.
Somebody could confuse the Pepsi and Coke Zero,
right?
Or somebody confuse Pepsi and Coke blindly. So I do feel like you could say over and over you could tell, but
Right.
Something changes when you have the blindfold on.
Yeah. You're going to make them wear a blindfold instead of somebody just pouring it into an unmarked cup?
We're not going to do a blindfold. The trend lately is you get a cardboard box.
The trend? What is this?
It's like a TikTok trend.
Oh, gosh.
You have the cardboard box it cut in half so the audience can see the soda you're drinking through the straw.
Oh, I see. A little
but
straw
the person
action.
on the other side of the cardboard box can't see.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes it cool that you can, video and
Yeah.
so the audience knows what they're drinking. Wow.
Let's do this for the people at home.
It'll be fun.
No, it'll be fun.
So we're going to do that Friday and do the trivia.
And then you're doing the trivia. That's good. Yeah, little Abby. She don't know about you, but she's feeling 22.
Yeah, and speaking of, we are all going to wear a different color shirt representing a Taylor Swift album.
Didn't somebody already do? Didn't
Sarah
do
did
that
for her bachelorette party?
So
Yeah.
we're just gonna rock with the Swift thing.
Abby is a big Taylor girl, and
Tay,
how
does she feel about her being an industry plant?
I don't know.
Her parents making her famous.
I will say that I was brought to my attention recently from somebody at work that Kendrick Lamar, who he always was a big Kendrick fan, and he is now starting to think that Kendrick has gone into more of the Illuminati shit, which I didn't realize that Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers had some symbolisms there that would kind of allude to the fact that maybe he did sell himself. There was some Freemasonry symbolisms going on there, and some.
Okay, that's nice. I mean, that's
if you're gonna call out Taylor Swift, I gotta point out somebody that people are starting to say there's an industry plant that you really like. So,
there's a difference between me knowing and having email proof of her dad and people paying people to make her famous, as opposed to him being inducted into some possible secret society that nobody really knows exists in the music industry.
We
know the Freemasons and the Illuminati were like real groups, but them like being tied into the music industry and then all this and that is like people love to just have those conspiracies.
Damn, we hit a nerve here.
No, I'm just saying, where's the proof? Show me the proof. That's what I'm saying. That's what the difference is in my book. Between knowing and seeing an actual paper trail of somebody's nepotism and, being put in a place to become famous with average talent, as opposed to Taylor Swift is average.
She writes good music that a lot of people really love and resonate with.
That's true, but it's average. She's average.
But how can you say that when she's been successful and so many people?
She's got a great team around her of marketing. And has done a great job of crafting an image. That's all it is.
You could,
she's
average. That's an opinion.
It's my opinion, but it's also true.
So, kind of leave on a real sour note.
No. We're still talking about things to look forward to. So, shouts out. I'm glad that Abby's gonna have a good time for her 22nd. Love me a good trivia night. The whole eras thing is whatever. That's fine. It doesn't bug me. Have your good time.
It seems like it bothers you quite a bit.
It doesn't. I just think that if people really understood why Taylor Swift is where she is, then they wouldn't.
I don't think it would change.
I think some people would. I think it would.
Well,
but outside of that, I'm looking forward to. I have some gigs this weekend doing Mardi Gras down in Soulard, playing Saturday night. So that'll be the old rowdy crowd. Should be a good time. So looking forward to that. I felt like I had other stuff going on too. Just doing a lot of stuff, getting ready for the wedding. I know we talked about that, so people know that's coming. So just been busy getting that finished. So be doing some of that this weekend too.
2 Saturdays for this Saturday, right?
Coming down to it, yeah. That's the math.
All right.
What else do I got going on this weekend? I feel like there's something I'm missing.
We are doing a live podcast from the wedding, I think.
Oh yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
We talked about it during
Ode to Bob.
Ode to Bob.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't there. But that'd be good. That'd be fun. We'll figure it out. We'll get producer Tony to figure out how to do it. That'd be good. Friday night, that's what I'm going to do. Friday night, I'm going to go see my buddies that do a Primus tribute band, Pudding Time. Shouts out. They're playing at Platypus down in the Grove.
Oh, yeah, I've been there a few times.
So going to go check those dudes out Friday. They do a great job. Tom, the bass player, excellent. Les Claypool, I mean, the dude's a phenomenal bass player. Tom is, so they do a really good job. Gonna go see those guys Friday, and then Sunday is the Lord's Day.
Sunday is the day that always kind of wraps up the week. Sunday is the last day of the week in my eyes, not the first.
Yeah, the whole.
I don't know how you view that, but that's good.
It's the last day of the week. People talking about it's the first, or just looking at a calendar that it worked out. It's fucking stupid. I'm not here to hear about it. Sunday's the last day of the week. Monday's the start of the week. Get over it.
I'd agree, but this is I think this wraps up.
Yeah, I feel like a
see you
decent
later
spot.
this week or next week. I don't know yet, but
We'll see you next time.